Welcome back to Spanish class. Today we're tackling one of the topics that confuses every Spanish beginner. But by the end of this lesson, it's going to make perfect sense. Today's objective: you'll understand Spanish articles and gender rules completely. You'll know when to use el versus la, un versus una, and most importantly, you'll be able to guess the gender of any Spanish noun. Why does this matter? Because every Spanish noun has a gender, masculine or feminine. There's no neutral. And if you get the gender wrong, everything else in your sentence becomes wrong too. But here's the good news. There are clear patterns that make this way easier than you think. Now, I know gender seems random and frustrating at first. Every student feels this way. But I'm going to show you the exact rules that Spanish speakers learn as children. By the end, you'll be able to look at a Spanish word and immediately know if it's masculine or feminine. All right, foundation first. Spanish has two definite articles, el and la. These both mean the in English. El is masculine, la is feminine. The boy, el niño. The girl, la niña. Simple, right? But how do you know which one to use? That's what we're learning today. Spanish also has two indefinite articles, un and una. These mean a or an in English. Un is masculine, una is feminine. A book, un libro. Un libro. A house, una casa. Una casa. Now here's the question everyone asks. How do I know if a noun is masculine or feminine? Great question. Let me show you the patterns. Rule number 1, and this is the most important one. Words ending in O are usually masculine. The book, el libro. El libro. The car, el coche. Actually, that ends in E. Let me use a better example. The cat, masculine. El gato. El gato. The hand. Wait, that's la mano, which is an exception. Let me give you better examples. The dog. El perro. El perro. The museum. El museo. El museo. Rule number 2. Words ending in A are usually feminine. This is the opposite pattern. The house. La casa. La casa. The table. La mesa. La mesa. The window. La ventana. La ventana. The cat, feminine. La gata. La gata. So here's your first trick. O equals masculine, A equals feminine. That's like 80% of Spanish nouns right there. Now, common mistake alert. Some words ending in A are actually masculine. These are exceptions you need to memorize. The day. El día. El día. The map. El mapa. El mapa. The problem. El problema. El problema. Why are these masculine? Because they come from Greek. But don't worry, there aren't many of these. And remember la mano I mentioned? The hand? That's feminine, even though it ends in O. It's one of the few exceptions. The hand. La mano. La mano. Rule number 3. Words ending in sion or sion are always feminine. Always. No exceptions. The station. La estación. La estación. The television. La televisión. La televisión. The information. La información. La información. Pro tip: in English, these words end in tion or sion, so if an English word ends in tion, the Spanish version is almost always feminine. Rule number 4. Words ending in dad or tad are feminine. The city. La ciudad. La ciudad. The university. La universidad. La universidad. The freedom. La libertad. La libertad. Rule number 5. Words ending in MA are usually masculine. This surprises everyone. The program. El programa. El programa. The system. En sistema. En sistema. The problem we already learned. El problema. El problema. Rule number 6. Words ending in OR are usually masculine. The color. El color. El color. The doctor when talking about a man. El doctor. El doctor. But watch this. For professions ending in OR, you can make them feminine by adding an A. The female doctor. La doctora. La doctora. The professor masculine. El profesor. El profesor. The professor feminine. La profesora. La profesora. Now let's talk about words ending in E. This is where it gets tricky, because E can be either masculine or feminine. You just have to memorize these. The car, masculine. El coche. El coche. The street, feminine. La calle. La calle. The key, feminine. La llave. La llave. Pro tip for words ending in E: learn them with their article. Don't just memorize coche, memorize el coche. Don't just learn calle, learn la calle. This way you'll always remember the gender. Okay, what about plural articles? When you have more than one thing, el becomes los and la becomes las. The boys. Los niños. Los niños. The girls. Las niños. Las niños. The books. Los libros. Los libros. The houses. Las casas. Las casas. And for indefinite plurals, un becomes unos and una becomes unas. These mean some in English. Some books. Unos libros. Unos libros. Some houses. Unas casas. Unas casas. All right, practice time. I'm going to give you 5 Spanish words. Pause the video and decide if they're masculine or feminine. Then choose el or la. Ready? Number 1, restaurante. Pause and decide. Answer, el restaurante. It ends in E, and most E words that end in ante are masculine. Number 2, universidad. Try it. Answer, la universidad. Ends in dad, always feminine. Number 3, teléfono. What do you think? Answer, el teléfono. Ends in O, masculine. Number 4, nación. Give it a shot. Answer, la nación. Ends in ción, always feminine. Number 5, tema. This one's tricky. Answer, el tema. Ends in ma, masculine, even though it looks feminine. How did you do? If you got 3 or more right, you're really getting this. If you got all 5, wow, you've mastered it. Now, before we finish, let me address the biggest mistake I see students make with articles. Students often forget the article completely. They say just casa instead of la casa, or they use the wrong article because they're guessing. Here's my advice. Always learn new vocabulary with the article. When you see a new word, immediately check if it's el or la. Make it one unit. El coche, not coche. La casa, not casa. This habit will save you so much trouble. Okay, let's recap everything we learned today. Spanish has 2 genders, masculine and feminine. The definite articles are el for masculine and la for feminine. The indefinite articles are un for masculine and una for feminine. The patterns: o endings are usually masculine. A endings are usually feminine. Sion and sion endings are always feminine. Dod and tod endings are feminine. Ma endings are usually masculine. Or endings are usually masculine. And e endings? You have to memorize those. For plurals, el becomes los, la becomes las, un becomes unos, una becomes unas. Look at what you know now. You can determine the gender of most Spanish nouns just by looking at the ending. That's incredible. You're not guessing anymore, you're using rules. Your homework: find 20 Spanish nouns and identify if they're masculine or feminine using the rules we learned today. Write them with their article, el libro, la mesa. Comment 5 of them below, and I'll check your work. Next class, we're learning Spanish present tense with AR verbs, how to conjugate your first verb pattern. This is where Spanish really comes alive. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Excellent work today. Hasta la próxima. See you next time.